to our Tuesday, May 16th, Keep Pharr Beautiful meeting. We'll begin with call to order. Present.
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 All right, after roll call, we need a motion on the floor to excuse or not excuse the members that are absent, please.
I move to excuse Romeo Robles Jr.
Okay, I need a second on the floor.
I second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, let's go to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Being that there's no opposition, the motion passes. I need another motion on the floor for the other absent member.
I move that we not excuse member Frank, who's not here.
Okay, so I've got a motion on the floor not to excuse our board member Frank Santana. I need a second, please.
A second.
Okay, I've got a second on the floor. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Being there no opposition, the motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We move on to our invocation. Let us silence our minds and open up our hearts to unite ourselves in prayer. Come, Holy Spirit, and let the fire of your love burn in our hearts. Let us desire only what is pure, lovely, holy, and good, and in accord with the will of God. And give us the courage to put away all that is not pleasing in your sight. In your name we pray. Amen.
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 Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to item 2, administrative, 2A, approval of minutes for April 18th, 2023. I need a motion on the floor, please.
So moved.
Okay, I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, I've got a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Means that there's no opposition, the motion passes. We're going to go on to item 2B, discussion on Keep Texas Beautiful upcoming 2023 events. Once again, I'd like to inform all that the Keep Texas Beautiful annual conference is being held in Houston, June 26th through June 28th of 2023. I'm very happy to announce that we do have a representative from the city of Pharr attending, and I'm very excited for Ms. Hannah Marble and what she's going to witness. Of course, it'll be best practices across the state and all the wonderful ideas that they're bringing to the table. I'm excited for her because I know I was when I first attended, and I'm anxious for you to come back and share your knowledge. There'll be a point in time, of course, at that event, they will highlight all the winners of the Governor's Community Achievement Award. And unfortunately, we didn't receive the award this year based on our population standard, because of course the winners are based by population. So unfortunately, we didn't win our category. We did have our neighbor McAllen. They won. Keep McAllen Beautiful did win in their population category. So I'm very happy for them, Mayor Villalobos and their administration in McAllen. My point about bringing it up is that at the Keep Texas Beautiful annual conference, you'll witness, Ms. Marble, they'll be showing video on they'll highlight the 8 winners, the winners by their population group. They'll have short clips on, they'll visit their communities and they'll do this wonderful video overview of what really they're doing, and you'll get to witness why they won, basically. So that's always an exciting thing to see, witness what they did that made them special and deserving of that award. We will be able to witness that. We should be able to obtain in the past, we were able to obtain the login information and be able to visit the site to view those best practices. So, and so it's going to be very exciting indeed. So I'm excited for that. And there'll just be so many things for you to see and do that it's going to be challenging to decide which ones you want to go to, which little workshops that you want to attend. But many blessings to you. And I look forward to you bringing everything back that you can. Any discussion or any questions regarding this? Okay. We move on to item then 2C, discussion on Keep Pharr Beautiful 2023 projects. And may I begin by just reiterating that this year we did revamp our logo, our Keep Pharr Beautiful logo, and with the intention of aggressively using it on social media. And so what I see now after a few months that it's been launched, that we need to go back to the drawing board and possibly address that not all the social media pages that I'm viewing that have events occurring that have anything to do with possibly enhancing or beautifying the city are including our logo. So it just needs to be readdressed, right? Possibly. And it's very important because when we buy for funding, that our logo is on there. It qualifies us as an affiliate.
Mhm.
It qualifies the event as everybody recognizes throughout the nation. Keep America beautiful, keep Texas beautiful, keep McAllen beautiful, keep Pharr beautiful. So I was feeling that it's important to make sure that this logo is not forgotten. We had media do a lot of wonderful work, and we need to implement it. So I'm going to work on that, on addressing that. So,
But
yes.
is the logo being used right now, even though limited?
I believe it is limited. I have not seen any flyers currently released in the last 2 months that, paper
Yeah.
flyers. There has been sporadic things that I've seen on social media. I'm not always on social media, but I do try to follow the city quite often, and Parks and Rec, and, other departments quite often. I do feel that it's important to qualify the name, the city, by incorporating that in whatever way, shape, or form. So I'll go back to the drawing board and address that. Yes, ma'am? Go
So
ahead.
I have a couple of questions. So you mentioned flyers and
Mhm.
events. Even though I live in Pharr, I still struggle to see things. Parks and Rec, got an insider who helps me keeping track on things that I'm
Mhm.
interested in for my family. But I see the Pharr 311 app. How
Yes.
many residents of Pharr, what percentage of residents of Pharr have downloaded and utilized the app?
That's a good question. And I know that a lot of our media, a lot of our work is done through social media. Right now, I was downstairs and I saw our meeting, and that's ongoing. Not just our meeting, but all the meetings that occur are shown. But if the general public don't know or don't have access, I get it. Now, my understanding is the water bill has current events. They put current events on there. Have you seen that?
But see, I pay my bills online, so I don't
Yeah.
see anything.
So again, another,
I pay mine online, but I still received it
Still
in the
really-
mailing and I see it.
you went paperless then.
I went paperless,
Okay,
yeah.
I still like seeing it.
So I guess that's what I mean. I'm a Pharr resident,
Yeah.
and I try to keep on top, but I know I struggle. So I just don't know how often residents are seeing not only
Right.
keep our beautiful logo,
But just in general.
in general, and if there's any any way we can assess that, and also any way that we, like, we can track it, but what can we do to help? Just for example, I'm part of a McAllen Mamas group, and there's a lot of talk in one of the conversations that's been happening is that there's nothing to do in the valley, and there is a lot to do. So some of us, and there's a lot of people who are moving in from San Antonio, from Austin, from Oregon, from all over the place, and they're struggling to find things to do. And one of the issues is that we have all these different cities, and there's not one place for everybody
All
to
the
go.
info.
But Pharr in itself has a lot of residents, and so how do we make sure that people know there's stuff to do in the city and there's stuff to do around the city? So
No,
I think it's great, the logo, but I also think it's just
Exactly.
hard to.
How are we getting the message out? I know that, and I'm not even sure, maybe Hannah Ms. Marble can reiterate, or Ms. Castro. In the past, the parks programming that goes on, whether it's in the spring or the fall or the summer, they would put together a little booklet or flyer consisting of several pages, and it would tell you about all and all the programming, whether it's Gus and Goldie swimming or et cetera, tennis lessons, guitar, and the kids would receive it at their schools, I think. And then of course, if you go to the library, you'd see them there. If you go to the DRC in South Pharr, they have them stacked there. But how many people actually?
So I don't see it anywhere in print. I get it online.
I'm not sure if that is still in print, not issued anymore. Okay, so now it's just online. Okay, now it's just online. It used to be in print. So again, everything's online.
And
Yeah.
we do have signs on the street that say, Hub Fest,
Yes, yes,
the dates.
yes. So yeah,
So I don't know if there could be a report, just so we have the information as in order to advise or maybe even come up with ideas. But as far as like the 311 app, how many people actually download and use it when it comes to Facebook and some of those other things, how many people are utilizing that? What other ways is there of getting information? Like I saw that you guys did have one of those where everybody comes out and drops their garbage, but I got it after the fact.
Oh.
And so
trash.
I'm looking, but I need to get the 311 app, but I'm still struggling. And I try to make sure other people know. So I just don't know how prevalent that is.
Again, for me, it's just been social media. It's liking what the City of Pharr, Fire Department, Police Department, Parks and Rec. I mean, just liking the library, just liking all the different departments that have a site, and then checking them every day. And if there's a way to make them your favorite, I
Yeah.
think there is on Facebook. I'm not sure on Instagram. I haven't figured that out yet. But I just make it a point. I ignore everything else, and I just try to, okay, what did the city post? What
Yeah.
did this, what did they post? What did they post? And because really,
Yeah, a question I have, so Hannah, when you communicate your events and stuff, what do? Do you communicate to the schools directly? Do you utilize city communications?
It depends on the type of event, but I generally go through our media team. I put in a request. There's usually a 2-week turnover time.
Yeah.
They'll create a flyer and then they post it based on when it needs to be advertised.
Because I think one thing we can do, and you can utilize, I mean, I know there's different agencies such as Constant Contact and stuff like that. I don't know what the city uses, but we can have sort of like a information, sign up for, if you'd like to know about cleanups in your neighborhood, if you'd like to know about projects for your kids and stuff like that. And that way they can send a lot of people like text messages, where they could automatically, like the phones just went off. You get a text message and it'll say, hey, coming up in 2 weeks, we've got, Gus and Goldie here, or we've got trash cleanup, or we've got this for you. Maybe some kind of a simple service like that. But also we could have like our logo come out on that. And that way they know, oh, it's a Keep Pharr Beautiful program. Maybe that's something we can try along with the city and say, you know what, let's try it as a pilot program and see if it is a good way for the city to communicate. We'd like to try this as our way of trying stuff out. So let's try our trash pickups and stuff, sending them through a certain way of going out through our residents by using sorry for the microphone, the guy's probably going to hit me over the head for having hit the microphone. But like maybe let's try it on a pilot program. Let's see if that works for us. And if the city likes the way these projects are working, and then they see that there is interest from our residents, then maybe they'll incorporate it for other projects ahead. But this would be one way to get our logo and say, hey, we're having a trash pickup this month. Or did you know we're having this service at one of the parks, so maybe tie it into our events. into our logo. The other thing that's simple, talking about our logo, we have this, our meeting here is publicized. I mean, it comes out at the open. We could have our logo in the opening of this meeting. That's something that the graphics and the TV department can easily fix together.
With the Pharr 311 app, so I get ping, 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 and I have to like search for what's pinging me. Is there a way of doing text messages like through the Pharr app? Like if people want to receive alerts on their phone? Okay.
I know I signed up for that Code Red that we
Yes, so did
just
I.
got.
But that's for
Emergencies, right.
Code Red just came out.
So maybe we should come out with a Code Green for us for anything we want to do. And then we can do our projects, let's call it Code Green.
That,
Make sure it's green. People will talk to you about analytics and like who's using certain things.
Yeah.
And then our IT team runs and operates the 311 app because it's not just like social media, it's very involved.
Yeah, it's two different
yes,
aspects,
this
two different
is
people.
more administrative and issues and answering a lot of questions like where do I go pay my water bill or where.
Yeah.
So this is not for events, because I think I've
No,
reported on it.
This is,
So this is not really for upcoming events.
Not that I've seen.
this is more administrative.
Yeah.
So,
That's more like if you want to contact the city.
Fine.
That's
Work
the-
orders, yeah.
okay.
It'll tell you, administration departments, how to contact them. If you want to place, like one time I was driving down Cage and there was a big sign on one of the buildings way up high. It looked like it could fall onto the sidewalk and maybe hurt someone. All I did is type it in. There's a section for that concern. And you know what? Within an hour, I got a response that they were looking into it. And then I got a response later that it had been taken care of. And
Yeah.
it's
There is
fine.
a calendar. So they do have a calendar of events in there. So then
Okay.
you can see
So
that.
that's my question. So if you're a Pharr resident and you want to know, not just Parks and Rec, because Parks and Rec, I go, you can go to the brochure, but just like all the upcoming events, if there's the Hub Fest or anything else happening or the recycling events, is there a place that Pharr residents can go to find that? Is there like
Yeah.
a big calendar?
It's right on the app.
It
So
is
on
on
the
the
app, they have,
Okay.
you go under news, it tells you where all the stuff is, like sandbag being distributed here, provide information for storm fence and, commerce, the mayor's commerce to host the mayor's prayer. So that's all under the news section. So if you click there,
So maybe that's what we.
And then there's also
that's
the
one more
calendar.
place to put
Yeah.
things.
so there is also a calendar in there. And I'm sure there's got to be a place where you can sign up. There's also their TV and social media, and it's got all of them. It's got the Facebook. Police has their own Facebook, Pharr Live TV. The library has their own Facebook page. There's Twitter, Pharr Aquatics, Instagram, YouTube. So they do have it on there.
I mean, I need to obviously explore on my own, but is there a way we could have a presentation about the Pharr 311 app?
I can't see.
Requested. So we're just jotting down some questions that are coming up. And the Pharr 311, my understanding is it is an IT application. And so I'll get back with the IT department to see if they can provide something to us for next time so that we can be better informed. But yeah, certainly we can do that.
That would be really cool. And if we could because I know we have 3 different departments that come together here. We have parks, we have code, and we have public works. And they all are having different programming. And if it's all in one little place, how convenient for the citizens. Right? So, okay,
Okay.
that sounds good. So thank you, Ms. Castro. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Marble Hannah, for that information too. And Mr. Luis for that. Anybody else have anything to add in this section 2C?
Well, besides the
Yes.
logo being on flyers, which I think is important. So I'm assuming that anything related to beautification of the city should have the logo.
Everything.
But I don't know if Keep Pharr Beautiful needs to have a banner that gets put at events. Or, whether a standing banner or a hanging banner. Or if, I don't know if the board has money or if the city has the money allocated that there's some, people like free stuff in the valley. So if there's freebies or things like that have that logo, if we're trying to get the logo out and for people to recognize it. Now, the question is, once they see it,
Then
what does it mean to them? Do they go to a website? Is there a Facebook page? Like, are they going back to the city? So I feel like if you're going to do any marketing, it also has to lead somewhere back.
So in the past, I had approached, but it was the past. I had approached about us having our own site, like a department has, or, like, but I got the impression that we couldn't just yet. There was too many other things that were going on. But I think we need to readdress that, because then if we had a site or like us on Facebook, okay, so then you like us on Facebook and then what?
Right.
You know,
So I mean, whether we're tied in this, I just feel like it needs to go somewhere.
Tie
So
back,
if there's like maybe on the 311 app, there was Keep Pharr Beautiful and then all the events related to keeping Pharr Beautiful
Mhm.
in there.
Mhm.
But yeah, I
something,
guess that's something
some
we
way
need
to tie
figure out.
everything back. Yeah, very good, very good, very good. I'm gonna write that down. Tie it back to something. So, go ahead, go ahead.
I mean, if I made this for later, but the other thing I can think of is um, right now we've had lots of rain, which is great for our plants, but it's also great for the weeds. So it's really hard for homeowners. Everybody's struggling right now to keep grass mowed, and and then we've got all this invasive Bermuda grass. And one of the things I'd love to see this fall, and Hannah's doing a lot for the public grounds, but for city residents to adapt native vegetation to take over the grasses. And maybe there's a way that we could talk about something and we could use our logo to certify yards or do it in conjunction with Hannah, help me remember, is it National Wildlife Federation that does the certification of yards?
And they put a little
Yeah, and
sign.
maybe we could do something conjunction or something like that, and then and so the logo could be used in ways that remind people to keep our city beautiful.
Very good.
One of the action items for the mayor's monarch pledge is to host a native plant sale or swap. So that's something that we can definitely discuss about creating an event around that and utilizing you guys
That'd be awesome.
as a resource for that.
And is there a particular date for that?
No, there's not a date for it, but I think the best time of the year would either be early fall or late summer.
Yeah.
Because the best time to plant is late fall, early winter. So,
Yeah.
And so that, and you said the mayor has to have what is it?
There's bullet points you need that the pledge has to meet.
Yeah, it's a proclamation that we've been doing for the past, I believe, 3 years or so.
Uh-huh.
And in order to maintain that proclamation, you have to meet a certain number of action items. And so this year we've increased the number of action items so that way we can be at a higher recognition under the Wildlife Federation. So we choose the action items that we want to pursue, and I made those decisions, and one of them is a native plant swap or sale. So we have to do those
Native
action
plant
items.
swap or sale.
And at the end of the year, I fill out and it's kind of like an application, a form with everything that we did to meet those action items. And then they approve us as a city that has taken the mayor's monarch pledge for the previous year.
So Hannah, Keith the Moss at Lawn does their huge monarch event, and they've got native plant sales that they're doing in there, and then they have, I'm assuming they're hitting a lot of those action items within that one event. Is the city of Pharr considering doing something that large of a scale, or are they looking more for like individual events and activities that meet all these things?
I think it would be more individualized.
Okay.
Especially because seasonally, the time of the year that like Callan does that kind of thing is a time of year when the city of Pharr is doing a lot of other events that they've done years past, so we don't really want to change that up too much.
Gotcha.
So a lot of other smaller events would be great, but I think that could be a really good opportunity to have some kind of social media campaign about native plants, include the logo, kill two birds with one stone, and also have some kind of like native plant sale or swap.
Yeah. Maybe have like an umbrella event where not necessarily all of your, but maybe we can have like some sort of an umbrella event where we have like maybe hit 4 or 5 of your categories and we can hit them in one event in 4 or 5 different ones. Like some sort of an umbrella event that we can do. Like I like the idea of, I think it's the food bank that had this, and I saw it, and I thought of us, the first thing I saw. They were passing out cards or they were passing out seeds, but it had their business card on it. So yeah, but what we could do, they can also now like make business cards and cards like coasters almost, but the paper has seeds in it. And then we put our logo on it. And so we're passing out our card and seeds at the same time that could be of native plants. And then they can grow it and we can see them growing in their homes.
Have you selected a date for this or is it still under consideration? So I don't know if this is something that we can assist with, or if you want assistance, too many cooks sometimes, but there's a couple of questions I have is one, does it include seeds? And two, okay, can we invite other growers to be a part of it who are growing things? If so, what maybe we could do is a seed and plant swap. And if it's in this fall, um, if we let people know now, that gives everybody time to collect and grow plants in order to have them there and establish. You have different kinds of vendors. You have people who grow in their own backyard, and you've got people who actually have a business. So I don't know if you want to make levels, but you could charge a fee, raise some money for something, like maybe something small or something big. I mean, I don't know. Or we could just do swaps and just nobody sells and everybody just swaps and they swap seeds and plants. But I think people need at least 3 months. And there's a lot of plant groups on Facebook, and I'm assuming Instagram and everywhere else, that if we notify them now, they can start preparing for it. It's just a suggestion.
So I understand what Hannah's talking about is that the city has certain big events already that they have throughout the year that they block for. So it's just a matter of sitting down and getting, I guess, the main calendar that they work off of and seeing realistically where would it fall based of obviously the growing season, the planting season. But, to really come down with a logical timeframe yet,
But I'm just thinking, I love the idea, Hannah, and I think it's great. And whatever way we can
Yeah.
support, but the master gardeners have that big annual plant sale. How much lead time do they have in order to prepare for it
They prepare all year long.
So, yeah, but I'm,
Not diligently and strong, specifically,
But there's
but
coming up.
throughout the year, several individual master gardeners are growing plants at their home. So at a certain time of the year, because they have to sell twice a year, the fall and spring. So they bring them over to the sale venue.
that's probably another calendar to look at so we don't conflict with that plant sale. But I love the swap because I don't know of any swaps out here, and that's an opportunity that no one else is doing. So that would be a lot of fun.
it may be also a way to get around I mean, I don't know how the city would feel about people selling things. Because is there permitting involved, like
I don't
vendors coming in? Well, yeah, anyway, a lot to think about. But we'll come back to the next meeting with more info for y'all. Anybody else? Do you have anything to add? Any more discussion?
Well, I think once we get the calendar and stuff, we can see if a year from now we want to plan our own festival or our own event or something like that. So we can start maybe brainstorming.
Use the master calendar and work off of it and say, okay, there's a gap here, there's a gap there.
Is this the time to introduce the events, or is that the next? Is this the time to talk about other possible events, or?
You can do it.
Okay, so I have this other idea, and again, since I'm new on the board, I didn't exactly know how it worked, and if we helped coordinate events in hand with the city, not relying on them to do all the work, but we actually took some of it ourselves. And one of the ideas as a parent that I've had is the same thing as a swap, but I love the plant swap idea. I think that would be fantastic. But I also know there's a lot of parents like me who have a house full of junk and somebody else may want to use it. And most of the time we just donate it. But I was thinking that if we could coordinate a swap that is a green swap that focuses on getting kids outdoors or beautifying our yard, and it could be stuff for our yard, patio or play equipment, or outdoor clothes for kids to get dirty. If that's something that we could help coordinate, and maybe do it in conjunction with, there's all sorts of like special days, like get kids to the parks, or it fall's really busy because it's the best time to be outside, but something in the fall, maybe even back to school in preparation because people have uniforms, maybe we could incorporate that. But the idea is to keep things out of the landfill, and if we could involve our partners, with recycling, with the Parks and Rec, with the Day Plants, and then have other organizations in our community come and present. there's Girl Scouts who are probably going to be recruiting, Boy Scouts who are going to be recruiting. So if we could do a community event, but have it a swap, have things for people, families to do, learn about the city, learn about the resources, not at the level of Hub Fest, but something a little bit smaller. I didn't know if that's something that we could do.
Hannah is gonna bring up, when she comes up, she's gonna discuss a program that she's got going at the end of the month at the park. And I can see this idea maybe next year planning it, but she's gonna share with us a program that she's gonna have. But it's a great idea. This way we keep our things out of the landfill. Everyone's got an extra, maybe the kiddie pool that isn't gonna be used anymore, the little toddler swing that, oh my gosh, it's the little Tykes toddler swing. Do I just
Sand
throw it in the
tables.
trash or what?
Yeah.
Sand buckets, things to play with sand. I mean, we've all what do I do with this outdoor thing?
Right.
That the kids no longer are interested in. What do I do with it? And it's great. A swap would be an awesome thing to do. And it's a great teaching point also to avoid putting it in the landfill, getting it reused by a community, by someone in your local community. A lot of people aren't going to haul it over to Salvation Army, or Goodwill, right?
Mhm.
It's easier for them to put it outside in the
That's
corner, in the alley.
So So I'd love to hear what you're doing and maybe.
She's going to share with us, and when she comes forward, there's a great program that's coming up. She introduced it last night at the board meeting, the commissioners meeting. But all wonderful ideas, and yes.
Excuse me,
Yes.
if we can speak into the mic.
Oh,
there
sorry. I pulled back so that way
Yes.
okay. Sorry about that. All right. Okay. Any further discussion on this item?
Mm-mm.
Okay, we're going to move on. But before we go, I do want to just assure the board that we'll come back for next meeting and bring some more information for you. Perhaps we'll have the calendar, the general calendar that the city works off of. And that way we can plan more, plan ahead. And we'll have some of those questions answered for us as well. So with no further ado, we're going to go on to item 2D, announcements from Building and Code.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
For the month of April, we received almost 250 phone calls from the public to call in their concerns for weedy lots. We have had a lot of rain. We had about 150 weedy lot complaints. And we are just midway through May and we have 260 weedy lot complaints so far. So we implore the public, I know it's hard to keep up with, but we ask that they maintain their yards. We don't want to have any of our contractors go out there, especially for the vacant lots, for people that don't live here. If they have relatives that live here, that can call them and let them know, hey, the grass is a little high, especially on the main streets like Cage and Jackson, Veterans, where it's heavily seen by the public. We just want to take care of everyone and just to ensure that there's no outbreak of more mosquitoes or rodents that are hiding in the tall grass or anything like that. Any tires that are left out, we're asking that they be disposed of. That way the rain, it doesn't stay there and cause more breeding of mosquitoes. We also ask the public that if there's any trash that they need to take care of, to call our office. That way we can inform them of when they're having maybe a trash bash or somewhere or other places, other options they may have to dump their trash instead of just dumping it in vacant lots or any other areas that they see.
May I ask you, I know we're seeing, and I'm sure this is citywide, Waste Management is doing its best to come around and pick up the limbs
Yes.
from the side. I know they usually are working on a schedule.
Mhm.
Do you know if that schedule is still the same schedule, or is it enhanced due to?
It's been enhanced because
Okay.
of the heavy rains that we've been encountering. And unfortunately, our property maintenance program has been set back twice already because of the rain. And we do apologize to the citizens that we're out there to help, but it's just the rain has been pretty fierce these past 2 months.
The rain and the wind.
Yes.
The wind. Okay. Any other questions for?
I don't know if all this weather has postponed some of those big events that you have, but those, where you have those community events where people can recycle. Do you know when that next one's gonna be?
I think Mr. Money
Oh,
will.
sorry,
Yes,
wrong
that's,
person, sorry.
that's okay. We do continue to have our block parties. We do
Block
have
parties.
them once a month. And again, we do have our property assistance program that is geared more towards the elderly, disabled, and veterans. So if anybody out there, they can call our office to apply for that.
Do you ever have flyers letting people know of the programs and services that Pharr has, like that get mailed out? Is that like in the water bills, or is that like a separate mailer?
We are in talks with incorporating that with the water bill, but we just haven't produced that yet.
Okay.
But with like our block parties, we do put it on social media. We also pass out flyers to the surrounding areas where we're going to be having it. For example, we have it at a park. If there's a school next door, we'll go to the school and have them handed out to the students. Or if it's closer to a neighborhood, we'll go the 3 streets this way, 3 streets this way, and just get all the residences that are there, letting them know that we're going to have that party.
Okay. I've never seen a notice in my block, maybe. We're not close enough, but okay, block party. And that schedule, can you find, like, if somebody wanted to go look for when the block parties are, do you have it online somewhere that people can look?
Online, no, but we do have a calendar that we produce every 3 months showing what we're going to have for each month. If you like, you can call the office and we can provide that for you.
So there's no place on the city webpage that you can go to.
Not currently.
Is that something that we could look into? Because I'm one of those people that I go, if I miss it on social media, because there's so much that comes through, and I want to look for something, I go to the city pages,
Mhm,
or I go, I look. So I know to go to Parks and Rec.
mhm.
But is that something that can be put online for people to find if they just can't make it into the offices, or if they just tend to be like me and just do everything online?
Yes, we can talk to media to put that on the website. That way the public can see it through there.
I would love to see
On
that.
the 311 calendar part, or, because I know I've seen on social media, the block party announcement,
Mhm.
but I'm like her, I don't always get on, and I'm
Miss
maybe
it.
online at night, and it was put in the morning, and
Yeah.
anyway. I'm wondering if there is one general place where all this can be put, because it's very informative. It's very important.
Yeah.
But we'll all work together on that.
Yes.
I reassure you. You have a million things to do, so, but it's a great idea.
Or even if scanning it would be great to have a calendar, but even scanning flyers and having them online, just a clearinghouse where people can go and like,
Mhm.
oh, this is what's happening in my community, or it can be shared. Like a lot of times, for example, this McAllen Moms group, there people are asking like, I don't know what to do, and if I know of it, I'll share it with them.
Mhm,
But I need to know where to go to get that information.
mhm. We can discuss it with media to put it on the city website as well.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Know where to go. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions?
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. So now we move on to Parks and Recreation.
Hello, good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Hannah Marble. I am the urban ecologist with the Pharr Parks and Rec Department, and I've got a couple of things to go over with you guys today. So the first thing I'll be talking about is the programming that's been going on at the nature park. We had one big major event that was thought of and put together in just a week and a half, so it wasn't the best possible version of what it could be, given the time constraints, but I'm still very proud of how it turned out. So we had our first ever Paint the Park, and it was for Earth Day 2023. Due to the weather, of course, we had a couple of delays, so we pushed it back. But basically, the event was an invitation to the community to come out and paint parking spaces at the Pharr Vanguard Nature Park. If you've ever seen, there are a couple of schools here in the valley that do it. High schoolers, seniors will paint their parking spot, and that's theirs for the rest of the year. The next year, it gets painted over, and the new seniors paint their parking spot again. And it's usually a fundraiser for high schools. But we decided to do this as just a free event. We also provided the majority of the supplies that painters would need in order to put out their painting on the parking space. And this was also done with the theme of Pharr pollinators, and I provided a list of specific species of native pollinators. So that way artists could use those pollinators in their painting. And it's really, really cool if you guys have a chance to go out and see it. We'll show a video in a moment, and you guys can see the winners in their age categories and their paintings. But it was just really gorgeous. There was some very impressive pieces out there. So we had a limit of 72 parking spaces that were eligible for use. We had 80 registrants, and we ended up with 46 painted spaces. So that was 24 adults who were 18 plus, 12 youth who were ages 13 to 17, and then we had 10 people who were ineligible for the actual competition, which was part of the event. And they were ineligible because they were either outside of the age group, they were younger than 13, or they were part of an organization that wasn't eligible for the cash prize that we were offering. So in the adult and youth categories, we hosted voting over the City of Pharr Facebook page. And there were 3 winners in each category, first, second, third. Cash prizes were $150, $150. Everyone's picked it up. Everyone was super excited, and it was really cool. So the thing that is devastating is next year we will be repainting and redoing everything, but we have a whole year to go out and enjoy the paintings. The supplies that we used were exterior water-based paint, so it should last. Given the heat of the summer, there will be some peeling and some just general wear and tear. But I would really, really implore you guys to go out before the high heat of June and July hits, because it's really, really cool. The last thing that I did as we kind of closed out the competition is I also solicited participants for feedback about the competition, what we can do better for next year, how we can plan this in a more effective way. I also asked if any of the artists were interested in painting the irrigation towers that we have around the city. McAllen has a lot of their irrigation towers painted. They have art all over their city and their parks and stuff like that. And we did have quite a bit of interest from the artists. So I'll be meeting with my supervisor at some point to discuss like options, offering a stipend for artists to come out and do some more artwork and just beautify the city. Yeah, but without further ado, I'll let you guys see the little recap video, take any questions, and then I've got just a few more things. So we can go ahead and play the video. Paint the Park for Earth Day was originally going to be a chalk art competition, but all of the strange weather that was going on this April turned it into a painting competition with the theme Pharr pollinators.
I went through the park and I saw people out there, and they had friends, they had families there, and they were working together. And it was just very special to see people interacting. You know, after the pandemic, I think a lot of people got disconnected, and this was just an amazing opportunity to bring people out of their home, enjoy nature, and interact with each other.
We specifically chose to focus on pollinators for this project because they are an incredibly important part of our ecosystem here in the Rio Grande Valley, meaning that if we don't have pollinators, we don't have other wildlife. They contribute to floral bloom, the vegetables that you eat on a daily basis, as well as fruit, and they also help feed other predators.
Claro que el nervio de que en cualquier momento cambiaban las estadísticas, eso estuvo hasta el final, pero pues ya recibí la noticia y pues fue muy emocionante.
It made me feel really happy. It made me feel like this joy, like this sudden joy of happiness. I put too much effort into this drawing that I thought I never would have put in any other drawing that I have. So I was really overjoyed, you can say.
Yes.
That was all the media team, but they did a really good job. We had our engineering team go out to do all the drone shots and stuff, but it was a super cool event. it was definitely exhausting. We tried to make ourselves as available as possible for people in the mornings and the evenings to go and paint and provide the supplies. And this couldn't have been done without the help of our after school programs coordinator, Abel, with all of his part-time staff. It was a huge, huge help to have those resources available to me. So yeah, but do y'all have any questions about that event or any comments?
I invite y'all, you need to go out there. They're amazing. That is a cool video, but seeing them is just,
Mhm.
it's amazing.
Yeah, it doesn't do it justice. They're really cool.
Yes.
Okay,
Great job.
awesome. Thank you. Alrighty, I'll go ahead and move on to just a couple of other things. Secondly is I've been continuing my outreach with the after school program. I'm going to have seen about 200 kids since the beginning of April through the end of May. And this is again in partnership with our after school program at all of our Pharr schools. So I'm basically visiting the schools, doing a little planting activity with them, talking to them about the difference between native and non-natives, and we do a little craft, and that's it. So it's just an additional activity for the kids to do in that program. Lastly, I have 2 upcoming events. The first one is pretty immediate. It's going to be Saturday, May 27th. We're going to have an event for Kids to Parks Day 2023. So we did a proclamation yesterday to proclaim the 20th as Kids to Parks Day. We have our Hub Fest going on that day, but we do need to have an event in order to comply with the proclamation. So that's going to be in 2 weeks on Saturday, May 27th. And this will take place at Jones Box Park. Address is 850 or 805 West Rosa Lane. The reason why we chose Jones Box is because last year we had it at Allen and William, so we want to make sure we reach out to South Pharr as well. We're going to be having yard game activities, kites, and we're also going to have popcorn and a movie playing at 8 p.m. It's going to be Jumanji, the older version. It's going to be a lot of fun. But the entire event is going to run from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. The movie's going to start at about 8 o'clock as the sun goes down. So that's going to be that event. Hopefully we'll get a good turnout. Last year, I would estimate we saw between 500 and 600 people throughout the evening. It was a pretty big event. So yeah, and the kites were a big hit. Lastly, I have a very look ahead announcement, and I would like to formally kind of introduce this. The city of Pharr will be hosting Coastal Expo for 2023. And it's a really, really big event that has been done in conjunction with Texas Parks and Wildlife. They own that phrase or that title. Coastal Expo is theirs. And they have previously hosted this for the past, I would say 15, 16, 17 years in Edinburgh. And Edinburgh does not want to host it in the capacity that Texas Parks sees fit. So they wanted to change locations, and they wanted to see if Pharr wanted to. So we are going to host this event in December. There's a lot of planning and preparation that goes into this. This is an event that is not a public event, but it's important to announce because it's for schools. It's going to be a field trip based event, and it's done over a 2-day period. Generally, we're going to try it out this year, see how we do for the 2 days. And we bring kids from all over the RGV. The numbers have roughly been averaging out to about 3,000 kids over the 2 days. They visit, go through a lot of activities, learn about coastal and marine life and education regarding that, as well as explore some outdoor adventure opportunities. The biggest hit is always the kayaking that they get to do. And because of that, the location will be the Pharr Natatorium. And we just notified potential exhibitors. A lot of nature sites from around the valley come by, and they exhibit a really cool activity for the kids. So it's a lot of fun. It's very exhausting, and it's a lot of work.
December what?
I'm sorry?
What day in December?
Yes, this is going to take place in December. We have finalized the dates, and they will
Oh.
be December 7th and 8th. It's a Thursday and a Friday, and it's going to run from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And again, this is a field trip event. We do also invite homeschools as well. So groups that are involved with a lot of different homeschool kids and stuff like that are welcome to register. I'll make further announcements as we move towards the date. I just wanted to kind of formally bring this to your attention because this is a huge event. It's also happening right after our Christmas posada. and a lot of other events that the city is hosting. So we're going to need as many hands on deck as we can get. So if y'all are available, we'd love to have you out there helping us out, representing KPB. We can also get t-shirts. We
This
do
is
want to
a
have
huge
t-shirts,
event.
yeah, for staff and volunteers and exhibitors as well. And we're also interested in putting logos and stuff on that. So we're working on a sponsorship thing, and I'll keep you guys updated. So, yeah.
I've worked this back when you hosted it
Mhm.
out in Edinburgh.
And I've been
And
involved with the
You've
Master
been involved in
Gardeners.
it, and me as a master naturalist. And it's a huge event, huge undertaking,
Mhm.
and it requires a lot of volunteers.
Yeah.
So count us in, count us in. And
Awesome.
I encourage our board that if you are part of any other groups, take this information. It is wonderful to see these kiddos, their eyes light up when they're learning. And this is the way they do it when Texas Parks and Wildlife comes together
Mhm.
and all these, it's just really cool. You see kids from all over the valley.
It's December 7th and the 8th.
Yes, December 7th and
So
8th.
it's a
And if
Thursday
there,
and Friday.
yes, sir. And if there are any changes, I'll let you guys know as soon as possible. But I've confirmed this with the special events manager as well as the coordinator, the director of Parks and Rec. So it should be set in stone.
We should talk about or think about, Hannah, how we could help
Yes.
in some way, aside from volunteering, how we could help the effort. And
Yeah.
we'll continue the discussion with that on that realm, right? But
Cool.
we certainly, this is huge, really is huge.
And I'm very
Sounds good.
happy Pharr is keeping
Yes.
it alive.
Yes,
Me too. I'm very excited.
'cause you had this baby for a long time.
Yes, ma'am. I did have a question going back. As I've mentioned to you in the past, whatever that class that you did within the summer program just inspired my son to become a gardener, and he is just full force into it right now. But one of the things that I had, again, looking out for my kids, things to do, was a junior, and not just my kids. It came from McAllen mamas asking for about programs to put kids in and wanting them to do gardening.
Mhm.
And so I reached out to the master gardeners to find out if anybody's hosting a junior master gardener class, and she knew of no one. I don't think it's within your capacity because you have so much going on, but I don't know if that's something Pharr Parks and Rec, or maybe some coordination, if offering a junior master gardener course to teach our kids how to garden is something that could be done at some point, because I don't think anybody's doing it, and there's definitely an interest.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And we do have a small community garden at Jones Box Park. And I see a lot of potential for that to be expanded. And we can also introduce the Junior Master Gardener curriculum. I've hosted that program before. It's very teacher friendly. It involves a lot of TEKs as well. So we could even involve schools, but definitely something we could do for our community. I'm interested in doing it again.
Okay. And this also, Cynthia, since you're here, I have your ear. Another question that a mom had posted, a lot of moms were also signing on, was that they were looking for life skill classes. And so I was also doing that for my daughter. I was looking for sewing classes, and I contacted and I found a sewing class. It's in Alamo, but like a lot of that stuff is really hard to find for our kids and even for ourselves. And I don't know if that's something maybe Pharr Parks and Rec might consider. I love the sports, but there's also all these life skills, and we just don't have anything really local or easy to get to.
Yeah.
And so, sewing, crafting, even adults and kids, we
Yeah.
can all use it.
The extension
I
office
was
does
just gonna
have,
Edinburgh,
the-
yeah, it's
yeah,
that's a
but they also, the people involved in the Master Clothing Volunteer Organization, they farm out. They go to Hargill, for example. They go to different locations and do classes with.
And so that may be, it doesn't necessarily mean Pharr staff, but maybe Pharr can coordinate and
Host it.
host local stuff for local families, so they don't have to drive all the way to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
It's just something I wanted to put in your ear.
I know I took the Texas Junior Master Gardener class as a volunteer at a school. I took it as a parent volunteer and brought it to the school, but I was going to Westlaco, and the extension agent from Hidalgo County was teaching it over in Westlaco.
Mhm.
That was many years ago. more than 15 years ago. So the extension office is a great resource. And I know they have through ag also, they have ag under the agricultural program, they offer for kiddos all the way to high school. But that's, again, if you are involved in 4-H, right? Through the 4-H program. But good ideas, great
Yeah.
ideas. There's a way to coordinate. There is a way to coordinate. So before we go on, when Hannah mentioned the program she's having on the 27th of May, Kids to Parks Day.
Mhm.
When you were talking about the opportunity to do a swap,
Mhm.
an outdoor, with having to do with either outdoor playthings and what have you, I thought, oh my gosh, she's having an event. It's too soon to do this, but I can see how that would possibly
Yeah,
work
2
in the
weeks.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just 2 weeks. Plus HubFest is this Saturday, and
Mhm.
every department is basically
Yeah.
overwhelmed with getting ready for HubFest.
But maybe attend the event in May and see how we can
Let's see.
incorporate ourselves into
Exactly.
it.
Yeah,
I think it'd be great.
because this is actually, it's a proclamation, and it's happening. It's going to be happening every year,
Mhm.
and it's got a great already title to it. And if we could attach these ideas, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Fit it in somehow, right?
Mhm.
Fit it in. Any further discussion for Ms. Hannah? We're good? We're good?
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome job. Awesome job. Thank you. Thank you. And without further ado, we go on to Public Works. Sorry.
Good afternoon,
Good
Ms.
afternoon. sir.
Caballero, board members. Luis Marin, Director of Public Works. And I'm just gonna go real quick over some numbers that we had last month, and then we're gonna I'll go over some of the activities that we did and some of the goals that we met for the month. So for our trash cleanup, we had 3.49 tons. Our trash collection for the resident collection services was 32.16. That's considering that we did have some bad weather and those numbers did go up from the previous month. So that's something good to look at. We had 2,205 tires that were collected. And the total tons from recyclables was 55.69 tons. And on revenue, we had 6,845.62, which is $940 more than last month. So the people are using our services. So they're out there regardless of the weather we've been having. So I'm just encouraged that people are utilizing our resources. Um, as far as outreaches, we had 6 of them, and I'll go over them here in a little bit. And also for the trash bash, we had to cancel due to the weather. But our next trash bash is going to be on June the 24th. It's over the last Saturday of the month. And I know the subject was asked. I think one of the board members asked about uh, how do we advertise this? How do we promote it out to the residents? And as far as I can remember, we've always been using the water bill. That's one of but we are competing with other,
Programs.
the different programs. So if you can get the slot ahead of time, you're great. What also we've done when we're focusing on a cleanup, let's say we're doing one in Jones Box, so we know the school district around there. So we want to, not attack, but we want to go and, we at one point we did do flyers, over 200, 300 flyers, take it to the school district with their permission and give it to the children that live surrounding the school district, because we want to focus on that area. So that's one of the other things that we do, and also in social media, we promote the trash basket, and also on our website, which we did have the calendar for the whole year, with the exception of maybe a weather or something that will hinder us from having it, or maybe an event came in prior to that. So we'll usually bump it up the weekend prior or after that day. So, but we do have those kind of advertisement that we put out there for the community. Cause I know it's tough. Sometimes they might not have internet. They might not. Don't look at the water bill. So, but all the events that we do, all the outreaches that we do, we try to promote any event that we might have. So
So Parks and Rec has that great online newsletter. I mean, that's how I
yes, we
look
do have
and
that. Yeah.
figure out what I want to do. Does the city have that for the other events? Or something like an online newsletter that you can look at what's coming up?
I believe they do. I believe they
Okay.
do have from our city events.
Okay.
I think we just noticed on the 311, there's also a place for events. It's not real far in the future, but it just gives you the ones that are upcoming,
Upcoming.
maybe
Okay.
up to the next two events.
Okay.
But that's something we can look at with IT.
Okay.
So as I mentioned, we had 6 presentations. One of them was Valley View Elementary. We had over 40 students, 7 adults. The presentation was stormwater and recycling. Was also educational and also the actually hands-on about recycling. Mr. Jesus Peña is our assistant director. He was overseeing that, and also Ms. Milagro Salinas, who's the educator coordinator. We did have that event. We actually brought back the Green Ranger from retirement with the thanks of Mr. Peña. We brought him out of retirement. It's a good a tool to use to attract the children, and it's a Green Ranger. And believe it or not, I wore it at one point or another, but I did wear it back in 2009, 2010. But we brought him back because we want to touch the children with it. And also we have Kirby the Green Ranger. Is a robotic trash can that has a lid on it, and we make him dance and all this. But it's mainly just to plant a seed on the children that they come and visit us. We did have, I believe last month, that we went to a school that had a sustainability platform, and these kids were being creative of how to, future, how to create, how to be sustainable. So we want to, combine that with our recycling, give them a hands-on exactly what happens to the plastic. What is cardboard? What is paper? What is recyclable in the plastic? Not a rubber hose, something they can tangibly look at. So we actually took them they come over to our department, and we give them a PowerPoint in the front, and then we show them, welcome to the back. And they have hands-on the materials that are recyclable. They also went to the blue metal shed building that we had in the front, and they were able to see what the residents are bringing in, and point out, do you think that's recyclable? I said, no, that's because of the difference between something that's not recyclable. And hopefully they can go home and get their parents involved. And that's how we get, because the kids don't drive over here, so the parents do, and then that's how we get them on board. So we want to continue. I think that is crucial for us to educate the children, because that's the way we lure them to recyclable. Otherwise, if they don't, well, the parents are not aware of it, everything goes to the trash. So, future events that we having scheduled for May the 31st is going to be Garcia Elementary. Also, on the third week of May, we'll have Doyden Elementary. Um, Events that we participated at was at the block party on May 11th. They had approximately 100 residents, children and adults. Again, like I mentioned, the trash patch was canceled. In a good note, we did have a new baler that's coming in for us. So this will be our third baler. This is an industrial baler that bales cardboard up to about 1,000 tons every time we bale it. So that one's coming in, and that'll increase our recyclables up to about 30%. So that's going to be a third baler. We're excited. When I first started, we had no baler.
Oh, no bells.
It was just roll off and loose materials. That's when I started, and then we eventually got a first bale, and now we're going to a third one. So we want to grow. We want to expand this program, and it's growing, and people are getting excited about recycling, and that's the main thing that we want to encourage. Um, we also want to point out that the GCAA grant that we applied, of course, we did not get the grant, but in the process of applying for the grant, we did get 93 points. And for our city size, we were able to get the Sustained Excellent Award, for the city of Farville with a population of between 65 and 90,000. So that we should be getting soon, and I'll be proud to come and present to you all as soon as it comes in. And Mr. Jesus Peña, he's been communicating with them back and forth, and we're just excited that we got that award. Um, and I believe that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
I have a question. So
Yes.
you had mentioned doing these presentations to students, which I think is great.
Yes.
But like our school, we are often notified of meetings for parents on different topics, and they're not necessarily just for school.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if there's any way that, because I think there's just a lot of adults, of parents who just don't know what's available.
Mhm.
And if there's a way of, through the schools, having a parent night to talk about all the different services that are available, like the recycling program, you
Yes.
said you're mentioning about growing it, and making sure the parents are aware how to separate, because even I don't know if I separate our stuff right, and what, or other things like that. I'm just wondering if there's a partnership with the school districts to talk directly to the parents.
Yes. Well, to answer the question, as far as having a program with the parents, that is something that we can simply just go over and talk to the schools. That we do have partnership with school, yes. We've been going to schools. I remember that we used to do 3 events a week, and I used to think when I was first starting, like, why do we do this? You know, one school after another. We go to the school, do a presentation. Usually the presentation ended up, like within an hour. But I did notice 3 years later, there was a child as I was closing with his dad, and he pointed me out. He said, "Hey, look, he's a gentleman that went to our school." 3 years later, his dad is recycling now with him. So that is, we still positive about that. We are going to increase those outreaches, and just give the communication of, because we've done those types to the RV parks. I used to go out to the RV parks, and when the season started for them, I guess when they arrived, I did go over some, new rules. Okay, we're not going to take this plastic. We're not going to take styrofoam. And I would go out to their meetings, and they'll probably meet like at 5 o'clock, and they had coffee and donuts and stuff like that. But the main thing is I was going to talk about recycling. What is recyclable? Caps. And they had questions that, I mean, you'd be amazed. Hey, do you take the wrapper off the tin can? I mean, we're not that strict yet here in the valley. They're just glad for you all to recycle your metals and your aluminum cans. But I was surprised at the question that they had. Do we recycle different color glass? For us, we're just happy that you bring the glass in. But for the most part, they're probably like 20 years advanced from recycling. That's why they're asking those type of questions. So that's where we come in play. That's why we want to go out to as many schools that we can and educate them about recycling. What is cardboard? What is contaminated? So once we do that, then we plant that seed for them to come back.
Again, I think that's great, but I'm just trying to think of not the senior citizens. I
Mhm.
mean, there's a way of getting to them, but for parents, one place I know you
Yeah.
can get to us is at school
At school,
meetings.
yes. And I think that could be an easy fix. I think the schools are proactive about that. And I think that was something that I think we can sit down and discuss and have that done. So, and in our part, we're available.
Even if it's like a short 15-minute,
Yes.
10-minute introduction because I mean, we all know that like in the fall, it's meet the teacher night or something.
Yeah.
However, that is kind of, everyone's kind of going off their own way, but
No,
there's,
I don't know about,
or registration maybe, I don't
well, I'm
know.
at Vanguard, and
Okay.
every couple of weeks we get a notice about come and meet. So we get noticed, we
Mhm.
get invited to, at least for Vanguard, to meetings for us about lots of different topics. It can be on financial
Okay.
services, it can be on mental health, drug awareness, all sorts of things. So I think one that talks about city services for residents would fit right in.
Yeah.
At any time during the year.
At
I
any
don't think it
time,
has
yeah.
to be with an event.
Okay. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Very good ideas. Any further discussion or questions for Mr. Muddy?
I do, but what department does the bug spraying?
Excuse me?
The spraying for the mosquitoes?
That's our department.
Do you put out a notice ahead of time? Because sometimes if we don't cover our door, we get the smell in our house, and so I always try to cover it. But it's usually like they're coming by and I'm running.
Yeah.
So is there a notification?
There is a notice, and I'm actually communicating with the supervisor for stormwater right now, because we do have 2 days a window between today and tomorrow night. Let's see, yes, tonight and tomorrow night. So if we do decide on Thursdays, a notice will go out throughout the day about, notifying the residents through the website, Facebook, or it might be through the website. I would have to get to with media. But once we agree on that date, it's going to be an advance notice of 1 day. And it's going to be during the night. We usually start around 7:30, 8 o'clock, and we finish around 2 o'clock in the morning for the city. So it's
And-
always done at night.
And can residents who have lots of native vegetation and other bugs, can they opt out or it doesn't matter? You're gonna get sprayed?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's,
Kills my butterfly. Oh, no.
Really? It kills butterflies?
I don't know. I always see a lack of bugs after the sprays come. So I know it's for mosquitoes, but I think other things get affected too. Okay.
Any other questions or comments or discussion? Then I thank you so much, Mr. Reddy.
Thank you so much.
Very-
Thank you.
and congratulations on that award.
Appreciate it.
That's great news. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we go on then to administrative item 2E. Any comments from the board at this time? Nope. Okay.
I think we covered everything.
We covered a lot today.
It was
and,
a very informative meeting that we've
Yes.
had, thanks to the staff members that
again,
provided information.
I'm so grateful to you all for being here tonight. And of course, most importantly, I'm also extremely grateful to the staff that is here today and sharing your information, your skills, and just everything that you bring to the table. So I send you off with just a blessing and a lot of gratitude for everything you do for our citizens here in Pharr. Muchas gracias y que Dios los bendiga. Thank you. Thank you. So I need then, if there's no further discussion, comments, or anything, I need a motion on the floor to adjourn this meeting.
So moved?
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion, any opposition? I think that, let me go ahead and ask, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, this meeting is adjourned. Again, thank you all, God bless you all. Drive safely and stay well. Thank you.